You should so do the stare back. G'day everyone and welcome back to NS2HD. In this video I'm going to walk around the office and look at some of the things that are actually hanging on the walls. The benefit of being in the Unknown Worlds office is when you walk around you see things like this hanging on the walls, this being concept art for the game. And a lot of this concept art is available on the Unknown Worlds website, but I've never seen it all together in one place and actually printed out for real. So a lot of it was hanging up the walls and a lot of it I have pulled down and put on this table here with some lights to show you in a moment. But for now I'm going to look at some of the things that are still hanging up, such as over here we have concepts of the gorge. So this kind of drawing Corey said would be sent to an external company to actually model and animate. So all his drawings of the lurk as well, you can see there from different orthographic perspectives and in-flight perspective, and looking menacing on the ground. The skulk over here, as well as the Onos, which still hasn't been released but we've seen in preview trailers. And finally the Fade down here that was revealed in the Fade reveal trailer, with lots of views of him as well. That trailer, in fact, is storyboarded over here on the wall. This was the original storyboard used to create the Fade trailer. So if you look closely at this, and if you've seen the Fade trailer, you'll start to recognize some scenes. The establishing long shot outside the map, which led forward to the window, inside which a squad of Marines entered and then was eventually ambushed by a Fade. You can see how detailed these drawings are, leading to the scenes that we saw. And this is quite accurate. Actually, Corey was telling me that the only thing that really changed was the fight with the Fade. So when the Fade actually came into contact and tried to kill the squad, having him smashed against the window, having that Marine smashed against the window and thrown around like that, that was all added in later after this storyboard. But it's still really interesting to look at these storyboards and see what was going through the heads of Unknown Worlds when they were thinking about what was going to go into these scenes and how exactly they were going to record them and animate them and what sounds they were going to have, whether it would be slow or fast motion. And so that was a pretty cool thing to find on the wall. Over here is a really cool concept. I hadn't seen this before I got here, but I'm sure it is up somewhere. I just hadn't seen it, so it really interested me. This is a concept, I think it's for a map called Refinery, and in it you can see 4 lurks, a skulk and 4 Marines engaged in combat. 2 of those Marines having pistols, one of them being thrown off a ledge and one of them with a rifle, and one of them is actually being sneaky and holding a grenade. So I think Corey had some sort of story in mind when he was painting this picture. It's a really cool picture, and I couldn't believe I hadn't seen it when I arrived. Over here near Brendan on the wall are concepts for the Marine. So you can see there's the female Marine, which I think is still intended to be released at some point, but maybe after the first post-beta release, 1.0 release. And there's concepts of putting up the helmet on the Marine's head, and probably an early sketch of what the Marine was going to look like, but very similar to what we see now. There's differences though. The shins seem different, and the forearms seem a bit different, and the breastplate seems a bit different. So you can see the process that Unknown Worlds has gone through in getting to the stage where they are now. Here's a concept of the command station folding up, that you use to command the battle from a real-time strategy perspective. The arc cannon, which was originally called the mask. I don't even know what arc stands for. I'll have to ask while I'm here. And showing how its barrel retracts and gets put into the little tank that it runs around in, and looking like, I don't know what animal that looks like, but it looks like an animal sitting there all folded up as well. Concepts of the builder bot, well, it seems to have gone through a lot of iterations before the design was settled on. In fact, there are 11, I'll go through now, there are 11 concepts here, and it's obvious that none of them are the build bot that actually got chosen. So that's really interesting. Lots of different build bots there. You can see the face might have come from 10, and well, the arms, I don't think, maybe the arms came from number 6. And I can't see anyone that had the light on top, so interesting there. Resource tower, the actual final welder bot, which I think is now known as the build bot, but maybe welder bot is its real name. And over here the armory, infantry portal, robotics factory. I don't think we've seen that yet, so that's something exciting. And observatory, which was revealed a couple of builds ago. P37 combat pistol, so they actually have real names on them on some of this concept art here. I don't know, I haven't seen these either, these concept pieces of concept art. I don't know if these were up on Unknown Worlds' website either. Switch axe folding up. Corey was telling that one of the big themes with marine weapons is that they should fold up, so they've got this strong, tough outer armor skin and inside of the delicate electronics, and they unfold to reveal that for combat. You can see the shotgun load action there, and it's folded up state, which you see it going from folded to unfolded when you draw it. And the same with the rifle. Here the rifle in very compact form for storage, transport, protection before it unfolds completely into the shape we know when we're trying to kill skulks with it. Grenade launcher attachment, which looks, yeah, that looks like a faithful representation of what it is now, and the tactical flamethrower, which is one of my personal favorites. Coming over to near Corey's desk, there's one sitting on the floor here, and this looks like concept art for a map. I'm not sure which one, but it also has a scary concept art of a skulk in a vent, so drawings of what it's going to look like. Can you see some of the early concept of pipes and electronics in the vents? Because remember, in NS1 they were just simple 3D areas, but now, simple sort of square areas, whereas now the vents in NS2 are really, really detailed with electronics and piping and gadgets. And over on this table, I've set up a lot of the concept art that I ripped off the walls temporarily to show you. So I'm going to start over here with this bright red one, which is for a map called Refinery. And I believe this map is in production, it just hasn't been shown yet, and this is the concept art for Refinery. So a lot of lava, a lot of red. I'm sorry, I imagine it's molten metal, not lava. And in each of these pictures you can often find a little story. For example, in this one, if you look closely, and I believe this has been released, I think I'd seen it before, but it's great to see them all together like this. In this one, there is a bunch of Marines standing against a door, and it looks like two of them are fighting off a threat, while one of them tries to maybe open a door, unweld it, so they can find an escape. And again, down here, a little story happening. Two Marines on some sort of tram, a different looking tram than the one we see in the actual map tram, but driving over some giant molten metal pool there. And here a corridor. So all the linking spaces, you'll see this in some of the later concept art that I show you from another map called Biodome, is that Corey does concepts for the connecting corridors as well and tries to give them a theme. In this one there seems to be molten metal below, and it's very industrial looking, very grungy, very dirty. And now I'll move over to something a little bit different looking. Actually, I believe this one, I think I'm probably getting this wrong, and he'll probably correct me later, but this is a concept for another part of Refinery. So some parts of Refinery looking very red with molten metal, and this one is looking quite biological, but that's really because all the dynamic infestation is all over this. So this is concepts for what dynamic infestation would look like, and there's hive glowies, and we've seen the hive glowies, they've come in, and of course the hive sitting in the background above some sort of power generator. Down here is a concept for tram, and this looks like very similar to what repair room ended up looking like, with a tram in the middle being repaired, lights on it, and repair tools scattered around. This is my favorite bunch of concept art, and this is Biodome. I think there's one or two pictures here that haven't been released. Biodome being a completely different theme. I believe that what Unknown Worlds is trying to do is create a whole bunch of different materials and models and props for every different map, for the different map themes that they do. So there's the Refinery theme, the Refinery art set, and this is the Biodome art set, which is also being worked on right now, trying to populate it with lots of props and materials so that they can create this map which Corey has envisaged. So in here it even looks like a tree inside a tube there, and lots of animals and life forms inside, and greenery inside the tubes near this hive. That's probably one of my favorite looking rooms, I think. And again, the corridors, as I was talking about before, whereas refinery corridors seem to be filled with molten metal, these ones they have plants growing inside them, inside enclosures. And then finally this one, which looks out onto a forest environment, and I don't think I've ever seen a forest environment in natural selection yet, so that's very exciting and very, very different. Over here, this is a mixture. I believe these two were going to be part of Refinery, so they're Refinery concept art, so continuing with the sort of grungy mechanical theme. And then these two over here, well, they look like they're from a mining map, and I believe that's because they are concept art for Mineshaft, which is the map closest to being released by Unknown Worlds at this time. So I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Unknown Worlds office from an art perspective. I know I was really enjoying it when I found it, when I got here, so thanks for watching everyone. Subscribe if you haven't, and look out in future for more NS2HD videos.